What's good, everybody? You are now watching the whole week. We are going to sit here and break down the things that happened over the last week, over the holiday weekend, and talk about a few selected topics as well as get into some movie reviews. If you like the long format, go ahead and subscribe. If you like the short segmented format, go ahead and subscribe. We got a lot of things to cover. So let's go ahead and talk about the things that stood out to me. Early into last week, we looking at August 30th. We had David Oyelowo. I don't want to try to pronounce his name another time. We have that young man being tasked as a producer, possibly an actor, for a Rocketeer reboot. Now, I'm not much of a big Rocketeer fan. To be quite honest with you, I don't believe I saw the feature film back in the 90s when it came out. I do remember seeing the character from my childhood. I do remember, like, being young and trying to sketch and draw pictures of the Rocketeer. But hearing the pitch that they gave for the reboot really got me interested in seeing what David has in store for the project. The project is actually pitched to be a reboot of sorts where there's a retired Tuskegee airman who finds the jetpack and then carries on the mantle of the Rocketeer. So we're looking at a black show, which is great, going to Disney Plus. We're looking at a character who fits, not just like, oh, we got a black person to do it, but like he's a specific historic character. I don't know if David Oyelowo is gonna be the guy actually tasked with being on the screen, but just knowing that he's attached to the project, something about the man gives off a 1950s, World War II, 1940s type of vibe to me. Him, as well as the actor who plays Antoine Fisher, those two guys, anytime you put them in historic looking projects, they always have the face, the hair, the look to fit that time period. Maybe I'm talking crazy, but I do like him being attached. I would like to see him star in the show as well, but if they get somebody else with with a similar look and who can pull off being that retired military and then fighting for justice in a different way, it would be pretty cool to see. I would be more into it than I probably would be into the 1990s film, but I would also probably go back and give the 90s film a look just so I can catch where things are. I do know, I think that was like a 1920s or 30s based movie, so good to see a little time jump. And hopefully they can keep doing it with the project and maybe keep it alive if it's a hit. So those are my thoughts on that. I think it's a good move, and I'm very interested to see, because I'm always looking to see more content from black creators, especially on the huge platforms like Disney Plus. So looking forward to that. Topic 2 would be very brief, very quick. It's Aquaman's New Suit. So IGN posted this online yesterday, I want to say it was, which was the Sunday right before Labor Day 2021. We got this picture, and I'm looking at the photo, and I don't like the departure from the traditional Aquaman costume. I like the green and gold. I did not think the green and gold would work in the first movie, but it worked in the first movie. Why would you depart from it now? But that's what they chose to do. I'm not against this one, but you have Jason Momoa, such a big, strong-looking dude. Why would you give him something that looks such like his body is covered in hard plastic? Like, they do all that working out for the film. Like, go back with something that kind of shows the man physical features and all that hard work. Working out is hard work. That was my initial thought. Besides that, me and my fellows that I talk online with, we play the Injustice 2 mobile game. So I saw the suit change. I was like, oh, so we might get a new character. Probably be a legendary. Probably be hard or impossible to get. So I don't know. Those are my first two initial thoughts. What do you think about the suit? I think that the suit is fine, but I would much prefer to have, like, show the dude's hard work, man. Show the exercise and the work that went into preparing for a role. But it's whatever. It's not a big deal. Ready to see something from the film, actually. Next up, I would like to talk about a bigger topic, maybe talk about it for a bit longer, and I have a few questions for the audience to go along with it. I hope that you guys respond in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on this topic, because I think it's pretty big as a TV lover of the 90s. So you have the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reboot getting its main star cast. Jabari Banks is going to be playing the role of Will on the dramatic reboot of Fresh Prince. Now, I never actually saw the Bel Air clip, that was like the initial spark for the reboot, but I did see the man's casting get announced, and I want to show you the clip as well as talk about that clip, and then also talk about what is more important than the Will character, for me at least.
I'm ready. I'm so ready, yo. I'm ready to bite down.
When did you first hear about it and decide to pursue the role?
So my dad sent me actually this article about it. He was like, yo, you should really do this. And I was like, Dad, that's not how auditions work. I can't just like, yeah, I want to do this, you know what I mean? But two months later, my agent sent me the call, and I knew it was right.
That is beautiful, man.
I gotta show you a picture. I remember in high school, I begged everyone to be a part of this thing with me, and we dressed up as the you probably can't see.
That's hilarious. I love that. You know, you got a fantastic road ahead of you, and I'm looking forward to being an asset for you in this process as you build out your life and build out your career. So
thank you so much. This is a dream come true. You don't know, like I know you probably do know. You feel it, but I don't know. Like this, like the way like this show has impacted me in my life is so incredible. It's to hear you say that.
More than honored. Looking forward to it. Jabari, congrats. Go have some fun.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. This is incredible.
So, after looking at that clip, my thoughts are this. If Jabari Banks actually has Will Smith as a resource for him when producing and shooting and creating the new content that we're going to get in this dramatic reboot, I have no worries about that young man. I think he'll be fine. My bigger concern, my greater issue with the dramatic reboot is, who are you going to cast to be the best on-screen dad in sitcom history? Who are you going to get to replace, not necessarily replace, no one can replace, but who are you going to get to fill the shoes of James Avery's Uncle Phil? We all know the scene in question, but James Avery always brought the drama to the show when it was a comedy. Who are you going to get to fill such man-sized shoes in a dramatic, like intentionally dramatic reboot? I don't know who you get to do that. I have no ideas in mind, and I do think that's a pivotal part. Every part of the cast is gonna have to be stronger than this young man. Not saying that he's not a great actor. He is relatively unknown. He hasn't had any real major roles yet, and when I looked him up and tried to find stuff, he's relatively new, which is fine. But the idea of him being the centerpiece is good, but when you have a good centerpiece, you have to have a great surrounding cast. And to have James Avery be who he was on that show for so long, you have to have somebody who is very, very, very good do it in this reboot. I can't accept someone going into that role and then not carrying it out very well. I love the Will Smith Show. I did a video a long time back about black sitcoms, and The Fresh Prince was my number 2 of all times. And man, it's a hard role to fill the shoes of James Avery and Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil to me was the best on-screen TV dad. And that's the big question for this segment. Do you have a better or a different number 1 on-screen TV dad? I know Carl Winslow is there, but Carl Winslow is not Uncle Phil. I know Cliff Huxtable, not Bill Cosby, but Cliff Huxtable on the Cosby Show. Good, but that's from a different era to me. I can't mix him in. I can't say he matches. Even John Amos from Good Times, very good, but still, he didn't have the well-roundedness and actually the longevity on the show as Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil was number 1 for me. Who was number 1 for you when it comes to the on-screen TV dads? gotta be Uncle Phil for me. Anyways, let's go ahead and keep moving into the next huge topic of Rick and Morty. So I'll be honest with you, the Rick and Morty finale just played. I really enjoyed it, but I also was fully prepared to be let down. So they did the thing where they showed one episode and then another episode. We saw the first one of the hour finale, and I was like, I know they're not doing this. I know this is not what's happening. But it was what was happening for quite some time. And I'll say this about Rick and Morty. I thought about doing a video a few weeks back. And in this video, it would have been why this season 5 of Rick and Morty, is the worst start to a Rick and Morty season. I was not happy with a lot of episodes. But when I actually sat down to do the research and like start looking at the first 5 episodes of every Rick and Morty season, I quickly learned that in the first 5 you have a few duds and you have some classics of every season. But I don't know why I particularly was not enthralled with the first 5. Then you get the back half and it's like, okay, the back half is a bit better. It is a bit better. And then you get this finale and it was amazing. Specifically that back half of it. I feel like that the Rick and Morty writers, Dan Harmon, Justin Roiland, those guys and the people who put the show together in general, they are the most self-aware show that anyone has probably ever seen. Like, there's never been a show that has more unintentional and intentional fourth wall breaks where they address the audience specifically without looking directly at the camera. There was a lot of that. It was really well done. The reveals of things without even having dialogue were great reveals about Rick's past and about evil Morty. I would have to say that this was a super strong finale, and I would very much like to see and know where we're going, but I'm not one of those people who break things down and give you all the little minute details, so I won't get into any speculation. But what I will say is I'm very much ready for season 6. How about you? They left the show in a place where it could be wide open. They could come right back and not address this for another 6-7 episodes, or maybe another season. They don't even touch evil Morty and the Citadel and none of that. They could just go ahead and do something totally brand new, different. So that would, it would be cool. But at the same time, if they chose to do continuity, that would be cool too. These guys have proven that whatever direction they take the show, it's pretty much a good one, as long as those two people, Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon, continue to like guide the ship. So as long as it's going that way, I'm with it. Moving on into the last thing that we cover in here today would be Shang-Chi. I actually got a chance to go and sit down and watch Shang-Chi this weekend. I didn't think I would be able to fit it in, but I was able to fit in Shang-Chi, and I must say this. Shang-Chi feels like, to me, just, fan talk here, Shang-Chi felt like watching Black Panther for Asians. And that might sound racist. I don't know. Maybe some people might not like the way I delivered that. But when I watched Black Panther the first time, there were certain scenes that as I saw them unfolding on a screen in a huge audience at the time, I felt a sense of pride because I saw African traditions and African tribalism being honored and not being made fun of. And as I watched Shang-Chi, I felt the same thing. Not that I'm a part of Asian culture, but as I watched it, I was like, this is honoring Asian culture and not making fun of it, not belittling it. I feel like this is extremely well done. I feel like if there's an Asian who hasn't seen this yet, and when they do see it, there will be a sense of pride in how this film is crafted. So that's just the overall scope of it. I enjoyed it a whole lot, but I do want to give you my breakdown and my thoughts as to where Shang-Chi landed in the scoring range on my little scale. So let's get into that. Starting off with the story. I believe I gave the story a 9 out of 10 because the story was nice and tight. It was done very well. I feel like I didn't want to like Aquafina. I really didn't want to like her character. I thought they would do too much with her, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed her character because they did just the right amount with her. There were some things toward the end, like having her kind of do something really pivotal toward the end. I kind of didn't care for that. I would have liked to see something else happen. But for the most part, it was a pretty good like ride with her along for the ride. Shang-Chi himself, seeing his journey, nice little journey, seeing the family dynamics that's present in the film unfold, very good. There was nothing that I was really unsatisfied with when it came to the story. The pace, I was a little bit more crucial on. Not that the pace wasn't good. There was action throughout. There was comedy throughout. There were story elements being unfolded throughout. But I can remember specifically watching it in the theater and feeling like, man, I kind of want something to happen. And in that moment, something happened and some action kicked off. I don't remember exactly what part of the story that was, but I do know that there were times that I kind of wanted to see just something pop on the screen. And then when it popped, I was like, oh, okay, great. Something popped right when I wanted it to. Maybe it was me being antsy, I don't know. But there were times where I wanted a little bit more, or I wanted something to kind of jump off the screen. And it did. I don't know. But I did deduct points in my mind for that. Like, I kind of feel like it could be a little bit faster, a little bit tighter. I don't know. Maybe I'm being overly critical. But moving from pace of the movie into the visuals of the movie, it's hard to argue the visuals. Hard to argue the visuals at all, because the CG was great, but there were two times throughout the movie that I feel like either it's lighting or the way y'all chose to film this. I think specifically to one of the fights on the exterior of a building. It was night, it was dark, you're fighting people dressed in black with these little light sword things, and there was a lot going on, and I couldn't track it. It was kind of difficult for me. And then toward the end, there was a huge battle going on. The back half of that huge battle, I don't want to reveal everything, but that battle had some disorienting stuff in it, and I kind of felt like I don't get it. I don't understand what's happening. So those were the only two moments when it came to visuals I didn't understand it. Performance-wise, visual performance, what do we see from people? Great. There's no complaints about that. And speaking about performances, the father in this movie, we all know from trailers, he's the villain. People have like elevated this man to be the best, one of the best Marvel villains. I wouldn't say all that. What I would say, knowing his story, seeing what he could do physically on the screen, and then being a married man, a man with a family, and seeing how his story unfolded, I would say that he is, bar none, he is the most identifiable and sympathetic Marvel villain that we've ever seen. It was very, very easy to connect with him. The reason why he was doing the things that he was doing was incredibly understandable. I can understand why you couldn't reason with him at that point, because love, man, like there was a lot that went into that, but love is the main reason why you couldn't reason with him and why he was so determined. And it's hard to be mad at a guy like that. It's actually easy to root for a man like that. So very, very good villain, which made the movie very good. We know Marvel's weakness is they don't have great villains. I think they have a great villain in Shang-Chi's father, and also his motivations. It just made him really, really sympathetic, made him someone that people can identify with very easily. Great performance from him. Moving right along into the entertainment value, 10 out of 10. The action was so good. I kind of wished it was spaced a little bit better, but super good fight scenes. One of the things I noticed that throughout the movie, there's not a lot of look like or would appear to be stunt work. It looked like there was the guy who played Shang-Chi actually doing the majority of the fights, which is always impressive to see, actor's face shown. Shang-Chi is not a hero with a mask, so you see he's present doing things throughout the movie, and I enjoyed seeing it. The action was very, very tight. The CG was very, very nice. No complaints entertainment wise. The soundtrack was good. The way they chose to use hip hop elements. I was wondering if people made complaints of cultural appropriation. I didn't feel that. I did feel like maybe that's a youth thing, like Shang-Chi being relatively young and hip, cool. There's a lot of rap music playing. I didn't expect that, but then I don't know about what the young Asian culture is into. So they might be into the rap music. I know for certain they're into pop, but I don't know, how much they like our stuff. So, but as a black man hearing a whole bunch of hip hop type beats, like, it's cool inclusion. I like the way you did it. I loved it in the marketing, and I loved it here. So good stuff. And moving on to the last point of rewatchability, very high rewatchability, because for me, I saw this solo, but it's like I got back, talked to the wife. She was like, "What you think about the rewatchability? If we got time later on, you want to go back and see it?" It's like, hell yes, I want to go back and see it. So absolutely, I would recommend it to anyone who likes Marvel films or comic books or just plain action. Like, there's a lot, and there is no need to know the whole Marvel pantheon. Now, I will say, if you don't know the whole Marvel pantheon and you don't remember everything, there are some jokes that you're gonna miss. Like, other people will laugh and you will not, and it's because you don't know everything. But yes, I highly recommend this. I would go back to the theater and pay money to see it again, or if things in my household are busy enough or friends are busy enough and they can't go see it and we want to watch it when it comes out on streaming, definitely would get together and watch it on streaming, because it was good. It was a very, very good movie. And I think, if I'm going through everything in my mind, I think that's it for the whole week this week. We covered a few different topics. I enjoyed going over everything with you all. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, things that you want to input, please leave them in the comment section below. And subscribe to the page if you enjoy the long format. If you enjoy the short format, it's fine. Subscribe to that as well to get those. I appreciate every view. I appreciate every subscription. Enjoy yourself. Guard your heart. Come back. Check out more videos.